Today we talk about how to be normal at home, at church, at school, and beyond. Welcome to the Abnormal Podcast. So melodramatic. There's supposed to be music there. And first of all, welcome to the Abnormal Podcast. It is the week of April the 27th. It's Monday as the time that we're recording this. And just want to say welcome back. This is Abnormal. And I want to tell you, first of all, why it's abnormal. Number one, a lot of us start things and never finish them. I thought last week, oh, I'll start a podcast. I've got plenty of time. I didn't realize how much time I do not have. So I thought, well, I've got time. I'll put together a graphic. So Stephanie helped me put together a graphic. I thought, hey, I'll put together a little jingle for it, a little sound, a little music. It'll be nice and peppy. And here we are, week 2, and I don't have any music for the podcast. I barely got the graphic up in place in time. But hey, this is abnormal. Starting something and continuing it. Many of you may have took up a new hobby. Many of you are learning how to play a musical instrument. Some of you learning how to sew masks. Whatever it is that you're doing, you're learning how to do something new, and that isn't normal. So one of the things that has come of this interesting time that we live in is, yes, we're doing things that we never ever thought that we would do before, and it is quite amazing. So whatever you're doing this week, I hope you continue to do it, commit to it, stick to it, do it over and over again, get better at it, and figure out where God takes you. We're going to take today in 3 segments. The first segment is going to be how to be normal at home. And I want to tell you, this is not normal, okay? If I was going to do a podcast, I probably would not wear a t-shirt. But here I am. It's not normal. I'm wearing a t-shirt. Many of you haven't been combing your hair normally. And the reason I know that is I see a lot of you on Zoom and on different videos, and I know that you're not combing your hair, which means we're not showering the way that we normally would. Everything about life has been disrupted. And if there's something we know about life right now is there is not going to be normal for a long time. Abnormal is the new normal. And as of the time that I'm taping this, we don't know when this lockdown is going to lift. We really have no idea. Some of the things in life are starting to open up. You can go to the store. You can go to the golf course. There's some things that are starting to open up, but life is still not normal, and it's not going to be normal for a long time. Many of us really never considered that we would ever have to leave the house in one of these, but it's here. Some of us lived through the SARS pandemic of the last decade, and we never thought we'd experience anything like that ever again. But here we are. It's abnormal. So how do you be normal at home? Well, I'm glad you asked. And you've probably figured this out, but maybe you haven't. I know I haven't completely figured it out. How do you keep on a regular schedule when your bedroom becomes your office and your bedroom is where you sleep, it's where you watch TV, it's where you do most of everything now? How do you escape from that place and go find normal in other areas? You just have to do it. You've got to go outside. You've got to figure out where the new normal is. But get on that schedule. Find the regular time to eat breakfast and lunch and dinner. And I know that for us, dinner is becoming later and later and later as the day gets started later and later. And really, we thought that we would have a lot of extra time to do stuff. We don't have extra time to do stuff. The homeschooling thing continues. The church work still continues. It moves on. And quite honestly, it's become very difficult. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But get on that schedule at home. Find that regular time that you're eating and you're showering and you're spending time in the Word, in God's Word, if you're a Christ follower. Meditating if you're not. You know, I can't imagine that everybody who watches this podcast is a Christ follower. But whatever it is you do, make sure that you stick into that regular schedule. And that will help to feel like normal when things aren't normal, when things are so abnormal. And one of the things I've realized here at home is that one thing that never changes is the change that happens. And just when we're getting used to this new normal, something else is going to come along. And for instance, we're trying to get to normal at the theater, and so we're gonna do a virtual orientation for the next show that we're doing in a couple of days, and that's going to be on Zoom. Zoom has become a normal part of life. We do it after church services. We do it during the week. But Zoom is the new normal. Go fly over to the computer and have a Zoom meeting. That's something that we wouldn't have ever thought that we would say even 2 months ago. Maybe even 6 or 7 weeks ago, we would have never imagined that Zoom would take over our lives the way that it does. But it has. It's changed everything, and not always in a good way. One more thing about the home before we move on is this idea that people are putting artificial backgrounds behind their Zooms. I love my background because it kind of represents my musical life, and yeah, I'm here in the home office, the bedroom, where everything happens during the week. But this is real, and I just think it's funny. We tried to put up a Zoom background on our potluck last week, and our walls are green. Downstairs, the walls are green, and because of that, the green screen thing didn't work out, because the picture that we put behind us was the forest, because we wanted to make it look like we were in the forest, and it just didn't work. So, normal had become just this thing where we post the best picture of ourselves that we can. Anything you throw on Instagram is the best. You've got your hair dialed in, you've got the makeup on, you've got the nice shirt. It's just the best of life. In the new normal, we don't always dress up for anything now, and I just think that's pretty incredible. So, how to be normal at home? Just get into a regular routine. Stick to the regular routine. And keep to it, and it'll become a little less abnormal feeling as we go along. So that is normal at home. So let's go to normal at school. What is normal at school? Well, this is weird because for many people, normal is done. In fact, for most kids, the school year is done. Not for my kids. They're gonna finish out the school year and finish their subjects, and we'll have a sense of accomplishment there. But one of those things that we all know exists now is we're talking about these kids who are seniors, who are getting ready to graduate from high school. I'm looking at kids in my life like Barrett and Michaela and Tiffany and Cody and Adam and all those guys, and you kind of feel bad for them that they're not going to be able to celebrate the way that they might have otherwise celebrated. So it's kind of hard to figure out what that normal is. And you've seen stories about parents who have put together a prom for them at home, where it's just them in Zoom meetings, and you set out a tray of hors d'oeuvres and call it a prom. I just feel so bad. And I look at a friend of ours named Trish, who is wrapping up her career in the school district, and she's retiring from that, and she doesn't even get to enjoy the normal part of that. So what does it look like to be normal in an abnormal school setting? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know, and we don't really know what school is going to look like in the fall. And it's disrupting people as they move forward into their college careers. And when will college start? Will it all be online? All those different things. It's so disruptive. I want to suggest a way to tie up all the normal as we move along. But let me give you a little hint at it right now. Just be abnormal. Embrace the abnormal. If it's going to take us months, maybe years, to get back to what we consider normal now, well, let's take advantage of it. What does it look like to be abnormal? Well, to be yourself, So oftentimes we try to be like other people, and we can lose ourselves in trying to keep up with the latest fashions and the latest gadgets and all those different things. And we can lose ourselves in trying to keep up with what people used to call the Joneses. If you're a young person, you have no idea who the Joneses. You don't care. All you need to know is, we try to be the best version of ourselves so that people will notice us or people will accept us. What does it look like to be normal? Well, just be yourself. I think that's the best place to start, whether it's at school or here at home. Just be yourself. And if you're like me, no matter what you do, you will be abnormal. You're not going to be normal. You could be strange. You're going to be crazy. You're going to be a misfit. And guess what? That's fine, because that's the way God made you, and you can embrace that and really celebrate it. The world celebrates now being different in a lot of different ways. And if we can't celebrate being different the way that we are, man, what do we have? So being abnormal is the new normal. So be abnormal and be normal. I love how that works in a circle. So for those of you who are graduating, I just want to say congratulations for all of the work that you put in to make that happen. If you're retiring, man, thanks for all the work that you put in, all of that investment in kids over the years. That's an amazing thing. So, we've talked about being normal at home and being normal at school. Let's hit one more. How do you be normal at church? Well, some people have started to ask that question. What does normal at church look like? I don't know the answer to that. I think we would like to know that the Sunday that we get to go back to church is coming up real quick here, and we're going to nail down a date, and we're just going to go back to it. The difficulty about that is how do you manage the new normal? How do you? Everybody's going to wear masks. Do we tell people everybody bring a bag of cleaning wipes? And as you go by every surface that you go, just kind of wipe it down. Is that the new normal? I know some of the things that we'll do differently is we won't be greeting each other at church. We're going to keep that physical distance. We may be looking at multiple venues, may be looking at multiple services. I was looking at a podcast earlier today about how churches will begin to open up as they do. And as the abnormal becomes normal, what does that look like, and how do we do it? I think that the way that we're doing church and the way that we're doing life right now is going to change very slowly. And I think if we're wise and if we're smart, we're going to integrate some of the things that we've been doing over the past 6 weeks into life as it moves on. We've all had our small groups. We've all had little groups of people that we connect with. We have friends that we connect with, and that's great. But I think one of the things that we have seen over the course of the last 6 weeks is people are really genuinely reaching out and looking after each other. One of the hard things has been the loss of life that has happened over this time of the pandemic. Normally when somebody dies, within a week, we've had a memorial service for them, and all of the arrangements have been taken care of. I'm looking at 3 families right now who've lost a loved one who I don't know what the time frame for that looks like. How do they bury their loved one? How do they celebrate that life? How do they bring closure to a life? That's such a hard thing, because we want to go to the church and we want to celebrate that life. And it's difficult to do a Zoom meeting by a grave side. It's just hard to do. So my heart goes out to people like that. But it's remarkable to see the stories about how, and I've been telling this story a lot to people this week, about a small Spanish-speaking church in the state of Nevada, probably Las Vegas area, who averages about 100 people when they have their regular services. And since we've all been meeting online only, they've had 1,300 hits on their website each week of people that they've been able to reach out. That is phenomenal. And whether it's a late night talk show or a church or a business, we've all learned how to adapt to a new normal. And it's been fantastic to see, and I think it will continue as we go on. We won't lose contact with each other as much, and we're being so innovative in the way that we stay in touch with each other. This evening, one of the things that we're going to see is a group of people who are just going to gather on their front porch, and they're going to play music, and they're going to play it loud so that the whole community can hear it. That's one of those things that we're starting to see more of, and that's fantastic. People reaching out to each other, not just to spread the gospel, not just to share the love of Jesus with each other, but to communicate one-on-one in a variety of different ways and in groups. Fantastic Zoom meetings, 20, 30 people at a time getting on and just hanging out and having a good time together. And I hope that doesn't, I hope it doesn't stop. So again, that question of what does it look like to be abnormal? Be abnormal at home. Yeah, just be yourself and get into that schedule. How do you be normal at school? Just get it done. Just do it and celebrate the best way that you can. How do you be normal at church? That we don't know the answer to that. But the most important thing is to just continue reaching out to each other, and we'll figure it out. It's going to be fun as we move back into normal. This is not fun trying to figure it out, but we're going to move toward normal. And one of my friends on Facebook last night said if she heard somebody say, "We're all in this together one more time, let me do this." We're all in it together. I mean, we are, and it's fun. And I hope that that you're being reached out to. And if you aren't, don't wait. Reach out to somebody and make that connection first, because one of the most difficult things is knowing who we're reaching out to, knowing who we're being in contact with, and just because somebody doesn't reach out doesn't mean that somebody doesn't care. And that's the abnormal thing to think about during this time, is that somebody does care about you, and you don't know how many people are just waiting to hear that they are cared for. So most importantly, just do that. Reach out to somebody and say that you care for them. These are all things you've heard, and they're all the things that I've been thinking about. And as we go down this journey together, we'll become abnormal together. And I'm looking forward to see what that looks like. So be abnormal. Reach out to somebody. Reach out to somebody that you haven't reached out to in a while. Say hello. Maybe normalize relationships with people as you have the time to do that. And we'll get through this together. It's gonna be fun to watch what God does as He moves us all through this. So that's all I got for today. The main thing I wanted to achieve today is just do this, is be able to say hi to you. I know this is one way, and this is me talking to you, talking my head off. But it is important for us to connect, and it's important for us to reach out and love on one another as we move forward. So that's it for today. Hopefully by this time next week, I've got a cool jingle that goes at the end of the podcast, and we'll move forward together and be abnormal together. So until we meet again next time, be abnormal and embrace it. Enjoy it. We'll see you soon. Take care.